Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is August, 28th today? I think. It is a Monday. Happy Monday to you guys. So for those of you that aren't aware, there's been some crazy stuff in Berkeley that's gone on, right?
Again, just like when we went live last night, I want to offer our prayers to the
Hurricane Harvey.
It's hard to cover one thing, and then when you realize that there is such a disaster happening right now, there's so many heroes. So I'm gonna interdispersed in our coverage with Berkeley. I think I might have some tweets out on some really amazing heroes. Just people have just loaded up boats and just gone down.
Sometimes when we look at these kinds of crises and our hearts hurt, and we're like, how can this happen? How could God let this sort of thing happen? But let's focus on the fact that right now we're about to cover the mass division in our country. Right. And what is happening down in Texas is, you know what? All lives matter. Yeah. We are all in the same boat. When a catastrophe like this happens and somebody needs help in rescuing, the rescuer doesn't ask that person if they voted for Trump, and the person being rescued doesn't ask that other person if they voted for Hillary. Okay? It's humans helping humans, because when it boils down to it, that's what we are.
I think that we need, unfortunately, sometimes we need to be able...
Like a wake-up call.
These things happen to remind us.
Yeah.
And if you can turn something negative into a positive. There was a guy on like a pontoon boat with a Confederate flag going around saving people.
Was he really?
Everybody, yeah. So just not everybody who waves a Confederate flag is a racist or supports slavery. There are a lot of reasons why people fly the Confederate flag. And so we have to really look at this. You have people of all different races, all different creeds, just helping people. And that is America. Nancy Pelosi, Clinton, Obama, they are pushing this race narrative that they're on the coattails of the next civil rights movement.
Right.
Where we don't need a civil rights movement anymore. Sometimes, you guys, something works. Okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have turned their back on any sort of racism. I mean, people evolve, people learn.
Yes. And they repent. And that's what we've seen happen.
Right.
We've seen it turning. We've seen a repentance where there was ignorance.
Right.
And there was ignorant racism that took place. And I'm sure it still exists. But by and large, it's gone.
And you see that happening right now with Hurricane Harvey.
Yes, which has now been downgraded, but they are still expecting a massive,
it doesn't matter now. It's like the rain and the flooding is the problem.
Not the winds or any kind of hurricane type damage. It's really just flooding at this point.
So I know we covered yesterday the left's their revolution, their Bolshevik revolution. I just kind of want to reiterate what's happening in Berkeley and Charlottesville. I've been watching a lot of videos on how Charlottesville was a setup. They had KKK members and BLM members coming off the same bus, brand new signs. There's a woman here. There's a woman on this guy's YouTube channel.
I'm wondering how many of you actually saw this interview. It's really interesting to listen to, and you can kind of come up with your own point of view, whether you think she's telling the truth or not. I think she sounds very genuine to me.
So she says she's in the restaurant and she sees Black Lives Matter and KKK coming off the same bus, and they start doing exactly what happened. We know that they threw Sprite bottles or 7-Up bottles filled with concrete. We know they were throwing pee and poo. We know that they came off like as in banshees. And so I'm going to play that in a little bit. Why is Charlottesville connected to Berkeley? The same people, same Antifa, same violence.
Same people being bussed in, essentially.
Right, but Berkeley is like the epicenter of where all the Antifa, the violent ones, are at.
Yeah.
So that's why they would need to be bussed in to Charlottesville.
Right.
So, and of course, if you wanted to make the KKK look really bad, you would get off the bus and half your people would be having KKK signs. Yeah. And no one would know the difference. And I don't mean the KKK looks bad just because they're bad, but to look like there's more numbers. There are more numbers. They obviously didn't get them for San Francisco because there's no KKK signs there. They obviously didn't get them in Berkeley because there was no KKK signs there.
Right.
Everybody's like, I don't want to be the bad guy this time. I'm going to be the Antifa.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to do that one again.
It reminds me of when we did a play when we were kids. Our church always did a play, and when they, for Easter, and when they put Jesus up on the cross, everybody had to hurl insults at Jesus. And there were a few of Jesus's followers, like the little actors, that get to be like, oh no, we love Jesus, and they're crying and stuff. And everybody wanted that part because nobody wanted to be the hurling insults at Jesus.
They're like, I'm not doing that again. I don't want your pee on me again.
Ew.
You know?
Ew.
I'm not doing that again. So they had to change tactics. Okay, so let's get straight into this. I don't want to play Joe Scarborough, but I am going to play him.
This is hilarious.
He literally goes on to say he goes on to say where is the anti where were the police in this? So I'm trying to find the
That's not it.
Let me see.
Violent clashes broke out in Berkeley, California, where anti-fascist protesters chased, attacked, and beat Trump supporters as thousands of demonstrators descended on Martin Luther King Civic Park. The event was branded as a peaceful stand against hate rally, but quickly turned into the opposite.
Chokehold.
It came after organizers had canceled a separate anti-Marxist rally, citing concerns over safety.
It's
the Los Angeles Times
insane.
linked to this video
last
posted on
night.
Twitter, which purported to show Antifa members beating down an apparent alt-righter.
Was it an alt-righter or was it just a Trump supporter?
Political opponents, some surrounding
And why does it matter?
speakers on campus.
This is hard for Mika because she is a lefty commie.
Right.
Over the weekend.
Nick, this is an ongoing problem in Berkeley, especially where
I look at everybody like shaking their heads.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Violence to shut down free speech, and there to shut down demonstrators.
But this is new. This is not just scuffles between rival protesters, right? This is shutting down someone else's speeches with a violent assault. Now you saw the guy in the red shirt there.
I can't believe they're being honest about this.
The guy.
The Washington Post was too. So there's.
Protester.
Well,
But it's.
I'm
it's
suspect here for a minute.
Reporter. I don't know, or maybe it was a different protester. But also, the police. I mean, when the police see these guys coming in with masks, they need to do. I think they
had
did
a barricade,
in Alabama, maybe.
And the police chief literally goes on to say,
"Take your mask off.
It's just grass. We let him over the barricade."
Because you have a history of beating people and hiding behind that mask. Take your mask off.
Also, I resent the branding of these as anti-fascist protesters. They are nothing if not fascist in their behaviour.
They're fascist in their behavior.
Okay, that was okay. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
It gets to a larger issue that you referenced, and it's the suppression of free speech on college campuses.
She had a right to give a speech.
I'm really surprised at the morning Joe here.
Milo, I can't pronounce his.
Hang on.
Studded snowflakes on the far left. Let me explain something to you.
Everybody loves you.
When I grew up,
He goes on to say, I can only handle the morning Joe for so long. He literally says, Berkeley, if you need help, we can give you some help. Okay, that's enough of his insanity.
Keep these snowflakes in check is pretty much what
Right.
he's saying.
So let us go. Actually, here's the one little clip I wanted to play you.
Berkeley. And why can't they protect free speech? What's your problem in Berkeley? Why can't you protect free speech? If you need me to help you out, we can get some people that will actually protect the First Amendment. Okay? You know where we are. Call us. We'll help you. But
Not
this
really.
sort of thuggery going on in your streets or your college campuses is an absolute disgrace.
You know,
I feel like somebody these people are kind of debaters, right?
Right.
So I feel like somebody said, "Hey, go out with this, and because this will help." And I half wonder, and I'm not sure that this is true or not, if Trump is finally starting to get to these mainstream media people, and they're like, you know what? Trump's going to keep picking on us unless we do something to get his attention. I don't think they like it when Trump picks on them. So I'm kind of curious to find out whether maybe they're coming out with this much of a stance because of the things that Trump has been saying. You guys are lying. I don't know.
So here's the guy.
What do you guys think?
Here's the guy with the boat with the Confederate flag. Saving everyone. Blacks
That's
and whites.
not just a boat. What are those called? You guys know better than I do.
With the thing and the thing.
With the cage, like I think of like Louisiana swamp, whatever.
Okay, so there's I think I brought it up. The one video the major video I wanted to show you was Gibson here.
And this is the guy that we showed you yesterday, who had tried to put together this prayer rally.
So poor guy gets like
really great guy
thrown on him. This is the guy who tried to do the thing on Saturday in San Francisco, and he gets chased out and has to run into the cops. Now, what does this mean? This means that, okay, so Base Stickman, he was the first one to show up at a rally with a helmet and a shield in defense and a stick, right? So then the Antifa they were going to come and bring all that stuff to use it for violence.
Offensively.
Okay? So what you saw in Charlottesville was a bunch of people there fighting. Mm-hmm. But everywhere else, all that you have seen is these Antifa and these leftists attacking Trump supporters. Now, sometimes if somebody gets hit, you're going to hit back. But by and large, these Trump supporters know that they can beat these people up. They know that they can take them down.
Right.
But they choose to run not because they're scared.
No.
Because they will not fight.
Right. I'm really proud of them. They don't want this to turn into a violent, it's a lot of times you have it was a complete fight and nobody ever asks the question, well, who hit first?
Started it?
And I think they realize that that's where this would be. There would be no question of who hit first. It would just be, it was just both sides fighting.
Which is what you had in Charlottesville, just some insanity.
Right.
And it makes sense if they were coming off the same bus and then just out there to just violently brawl. And I think they're not going to do that again because nobody really wants to be hit.
Right.
By the way, this is the guy who said, I want moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans to get together to talk things through.
Yeah, not much talking going on.
So there's like pepper spray going on. That was like beer spray. Fascists go home. And this chick with the sports bra is in like every video trying to beat people up. They're so weak, they have to use these large chicks to just go, beat people up. He's like, the whole time he's walking, he's like, look, he's like holding his hands up. I'm not starting anything. I don't want to fight with you. Keep effing walking. So they're the police not doing anything, right?
I like he has a little bodyguard with big bodyguard with football pads. This is crazy. It's insane.
So that is the alt left, and what's funny is that Joe, I think it was, I don't know if it was John Bowne or whoever on InfoWars last night. If I can find that clip, I want to show it to you because they're going through the media and they're like, they have a woman on mainstream media saying alt left is a made up term. They don't even exist.
Yeah, they do.
So you can't call people that because there's no such thing.
Oh my God.
It was just like a bunch of babies.
All right, so John Pitter says, does anyone know what based means? I see that term being used a lot now. It started before Base Stickman.
Right.
And so that's where he got his name. I have to tell you, I'm not exactly sure what it means. I don't know where it came from either. And people just are running with it.
It's kind of like alt-right. I had never heard of alt-right, and I thought it just meant alternative media right.
Right.
For the longest time, so I think a lot of people did. So a lot of people were calling themselves alt-right. There's a tiny little group of, like, alt-righters, I guess now I know. And
the extreme ones. Sharon says, Antifa and BLM are the same side of the coin. The objective is to destroy everything.
So, like I said, I wanted to show you guys a few things while we were on Harvey. These 3 young men on a boat have been rescuing people all day.
Aren't they so cute?
Oh my God.
Just whole neighborhoods into a giant lake.
Wow. See, I like this. We're going to bring you some craziness and then bring it back to stories of good and hope. That's awesome.
Exactly.
I
mean, here you've got, you know, this black firefighter, 2 white kids. You've got people rescuing puppies. You have this white soldier carrying this Asian lady with her Asian baby.
Oh.
This is America, you guys.
Yes.
So what we see in Berkeley, that is communism.
They have dogs in a dog crate.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So cute.
This Harvey thing is horrible, and we are going to need to pray for these the people in Texas, and we are going to need to surround them in love.
A lot of people, like our local radio station, is accepting donations for food and water and hygiene products and stuff like that. So this is the time for us to come together. Absolutely.
Exactly. Toxic masculinity and white privilege here.
I love that.
So this one is hilarious to me. This, if you guys have ever seen the free speech people in Berkeley from the 60s, they practice how to be arrested by police by going limp and screaming and just pretty much acting like a toddler, as Will said, on drugs.
That's exactly right.
So here we have it.
I need my service! I want you fucking with me! I want you fucking with me!
F you pigs.
All the way to the gate! All the way to the gate!
She keeps saying,
I need my service animal!
I need my service animal. Now, my question is, what were you doing with your service animal that deserved you to be arrested?
Get back! Get back! I need my fucking service animal! I need my fucking service animal!
Well, you know what? Maybe you should think twice if
about
you have
going
a
into
disability
riots if you need a service animal.
Are becoming an Antifa.
Because I have a suspicion.
You know what? Isn't that cruelty to animals?
Probably, yeah, because they could have pee thrown on them. They could have pepper spray in their face.
Right.
Here's the thing. Pretty sure that if you get arrested, you don't get to take your service animal to jail.
Nope.
Just saying.
Okay, so this is the video that everybody is seeing. Morning Joe just called them alt-right. I believe it's just a regular old, you know, libertarian or Trump supporter or something. But it sounds better to say alt-right, right? So then this reporter, they just keep kicking him. And everybody's saying stop, but nobody's really saying stop. Because then there's like these kicks keep coming in. And then like they're pushing people in. And there's this girl. There's the girl, again in a sports bra, taking people down the whole day. And she's pretending like she's like protecting him, but she's been chasing people off all day. What is she doing to him? This is embarrassing. This is weird. She's trying to pull him up. What is she doing? Then she's got the Antifa in the back, like little tiny baby thugs. And then this guy is actually an Antifa guy starting to fight this guy. And it's just all craziness. It's just all craziness. Okay, so you ready to see more craziness?
Does it make sense?
Why not?
To get into a major use of force over a grassy area.
We are not going to get into a major use of force over a grassy area, so we are going to let these Antifa in over the barricades to go and attack people, because that's what we do here in Berkeley.
The need to separate very much vanished. Now, again, it's a little early. We'll take a look at everything that happened today, but it doesn't make sense to fight over something where the conditions have changed. The need for separation simply didn't exist, and we'll review the operation and once again learn from what we did. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Didn't you have a chance to learn the last few times?
Minimizing injuries has taken precedence over trying to control the situation. The goal of police in February, UC Berkeley police held back when self-proclaimed anarchists attacked the student union to stop right-wing speaker Milo Yiannopoulos from speaking. And in the process, they inflicted about $100,000 worth of damage as the police stood by. In both cases, it was felt that trying to stop the takeovers would escalate the conflict and at the same time endanger peaceful protesters who were caught in the mix.
And as far as I'm concerned, there's some deep discussions that need to happen within our community about providing space for Antifa and some of the folks we saw. Smaller number, but considerable number of folks we saw here today. So there's more. I think there's the conversation.
They need to make sure that Antifa has a nice safe space.
So, like, here are all the flammable things that you're allowed to burn.
Sure.
Okay, so this is
maybe
the
have a little
snowflake
campfire. Give them some marshmallows.
Maybe like some Trump piñatas.
Sure.
They could hit those just to get their anger out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, because you understand that these Antifa people have some, you know, inside. It's inside of them. They have.
And so if they want to throw the water balloons filled with pee and urine, maybe they could get their own puppet to sit on one of those like pools,
right?
Where they throw stuff at the, you know what I'm saying, and then it drops into the tank of whatever filth they want to have set up. Just contain it a little bit.
So this is our wonderful Nigel Farage. He tweeted this out. The media need to wake up and see Antifa for what they really are, domestic terrorists. Now, we covered this yesterday, but we're covering it a little bit more today because there's more video on Berkeley, and it's pretty much front page news all over the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Washington Post actually said Antifa attack peaceful right-wingers, and I don't know why they would do that.
I don't know either.
Unless they have to cover their tracks somehow. I don't know. So it's a bit weird for me at this point to be covering the same line. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all.
It's so catchy, isn't it? Could you imagine being in that crowd shouting that? No USA at all.
Michelle and I are going to get out our little Antifa things one more time. We have a pink one and a black one because we don't have a red one. Now, these poor people, I do feel sorry for them because when you cover your face like this,
you can't breathe. It's awful.
You can't breathe and you can't see, which is what I think their problem is. They have a lack of oxygen to their brain.
Right.
And they can't think clearly.
Yeah.
That has got to be the only reason
and these are
that they are out there.
Porous, I guess. I mean.
And I can't even breathe. I've had it on for less than 10 seconds and I can't breathe.
I have to tell you though, I don't know how the Muslims do it either though. Because theirs are more like not as, it's awful.
Honestly, the whole burqa thing, you know, I like scarves.
The Antifa kind of reminds me of that. I think these people are getting ready to wear the hijab. They're really covered,
I
just
think the
like
men want to wear them too as well. So here we go. We're not done yet. This is a father and a son being chased down. This is what they do. These thugs, they just chase people down. He's like Mexican. The dad. He's trying to protect himself with. This is awful. Look at him just taking him down. I mean, this is like. What's up with. What does that guy have all over his back? And I think this guy has like. Man bun is. I mean, like the man buns.
I have to tell you, to be perfectly honest,
they don't really actually hurt people.
Well,
they do, but like actually I have to tell you, 2 people went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The good news is that they don't have the ability to really hurt people.
Yeah, yes and no. My point is a little bit different than that.
Okay.
I'm looking at all of these people chasing 1 or 2 people.
Well, that's the ability in a group.
And that, exactly, one-on-one, no, they don't.
I'm just saying they're weak, but in mass, they need the numbers.
And it's a coward's way of fighting. We all know in the Wild Wild West, you know what I mean? If you're gonna face me, shoot me, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, don't shoot me in the back, that kind of thing. Whenever you get a mass amount of people attacking just a couple of people, this is cowardly fighting.
Yeah.
It's a complete unfair fight. It's awful.
This is the girl again. Somebody arrest the chick with a sports bra for fashion, issues, number 1. But
yeah, 311.
Also she's like the one. She's like their head thug. She's like their bar bouncer. Look at her.
Wow.
She's like a sumo wrestler.
And I think she thinks she can get away with it because she's a girl.
She does. I'm sure she does.
She's got her girl privilege going on.
But she's bigger than all the other little millennial dudes attacking people.
She is. She is.
They put their girl... That's the one thing Gavin McInnes says. When we go to these places, there's not a lot of girls because we don't put our women on the front lines or something like that. But she takes him... You have to watch it over and over again. Taking down this huge dude. And this guy isn't hitting back. They take his shirt off. That was caught on camera. They're just all taking bam, bam, bam with my
more than one person just beating on a single person. This should not be allowed to be happening in the United States.
People need to take like lessons from that Merriweather fight or whatever because they don't look how they're. As somebody commented and said, if this is your Revolutionary Army, you know, it's kind of a good sign.
Yeah, well,
because
there is that.
They have no...
But the cowards, they're like I said last night, they're kind of like a locust.
And then
where they can only... It's kind of scary.
And then
how
the
they come
people
in
running around with cameras who really don't care.
Without any...
So this guy tries to take his stick away. You could analyze this one video for like hours.
All right, so let me read some of the comments here. Let's see... Stacy, one of our moderators, she says, Resistance Chicks does not promote violence, so don't get the idea that any talk of torture or bullets to the head are welcome here. Self-defense is one thing. Acting just like the Antifa is another. I have to agree with her there. She knows as well. Let's see. You can't change these people. What the heck is Trump waiting for until all 50 states are full of gangs with lawlessness? I think Trump's hands are a little bit tied right now.
As soon as he said Antifa...
Right, because he's kind of under attack himself, and a lot of this is a state issue. There's not much that the Fed can come in and do without having a massive federal police.
There is something that's been going around on Twitter that Jason Kessler is noted on an article for CNN. So
he's been paid. He was on their payroll.
Dinesh D'Souza says, I noticed CNN has been silent over whether Jason Kessler, organizer of the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, was on their payroll. Stick with us at the end. We're going to go to this phone call with this woman who saw the KKK and BLM coming off the same bus.
Right. So John Petter says something in the same line as Stacy's. Okay, everyone, please no more racist comments or racial slurs. Here's the thing. At Resistance Chicks, we call out the violence on the left from the Antifa and BLM, and we will always call out any violence that comes from white supremacists or KKK or anything like that. This has nothing to do with race, and so it actually is senseless. It doesn't make any sense for you guys to be using race as an issue because there were a lot more white people on there than there were black people picking on these innocent victims. So it really doesn't matter. Color is not the issue right now. It's idiocy. And what did you say last night about them not having mommies?
They just grew up in daycares. They're mommyless.
Yeah, you coined a phrase.
Oh, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
This is getting out of control. You guys do something before the people get killed. Antifa Berkeley just taken. There's the girl again.
That's that same shot. I think we just saw the video because that guy was in the red shorts.
Okay.
And then she was coming up. So I think we saw the video, and then that's like a shot of it.
So Gary Cohn is in the White House. He's the chief economic advisor to Donald Trump. He said after Charlottesville he was going to go, but he decided to stay on. And he calls Antifa citizens standing up for equality and freedom, and Paul Ryan calls them peaceful protests against the hate. Obviously, we know that is not the truth. This is the guy from yesterday.
When? And if that's the case,
this is one of the Hispanic guys from Saturday, I mean.
From the prayer rally.
From the prayer rally. He said he used to think Trump was a racist.
If standing up for my freedom and my rights and standing up for free speech is wrong, then I don't want to be right. I will stand up for what I believe in. And I'm going to tell you this. I used to be one of these people. Well, not Antifa, but I used to be an anti-Trump, hardcore anti-Trump. And if I was still the old me, I will beat up all these people, because that's what I used to do. I drive around when Trump was, like, he announced that he was running for president. I drove around looking for Trump supporters. You got a Trump sticker on you, I'll be waiting at your car. Once you get there, I'll beat your ass up if you talk back to me when I talk shit to you. That's what I used to be. I saw on the media, every single news, they announced Trump is a racist. They told this. They brought, like, they cut out most of the speech that Trump did and brought only some of it just to make people think he was racist. I really believe that. I really believe that. So I was out. I was filled with anger. So I came across one of the video on Facebook. It says, Trump rally in Vancouver, Washington. I'm like, I live there. Let's go check it out if Trump supporter gets beat up. It was the opposite. I saw this guy right here. And what he was speaking about, the peace, the unity, and everything, it hit me right in the dome. So I had an urge and a desire to go out and seek the truth. Are they really racist? So I hit him up. He hooked me up with a few people. I came here, Berkeley the 15th, April. That's where I saw the truth. First time I ever saw a brown Trump supporter, Margaret Gutierrez, Hareem. I knew him right there and then. They're not racist. Nobody came up to me and was like, hey, get out of here. You're brown. You're not accepted here. Nobody. They welcomed me with open hands. And it changed my heart. And it hurts me that standing up for what you believe in.
Stop it.
Will get you crucified. Will get you prosecuted.
And you're friends with Baseman.
So when did our country get to this? And I'm telling you, we will not back down. We will keep on standing.
I love that.
That sums up everything.
Yeah.
And how come that guy isn't on the news? How come that guy isn't on CNN?
I don't know. He's a big teddy bear.
How come that guy isn't, all over the place? So at least 14 were arrested. I feel bad for the right wingers who did happen to show up because they actually canceled again. Here, this guy gets arrested. He doesn't look like a thug.
So somebody had posed this question. Ladies, have you thought about this? What are we not seeing because we are watching this all go down? Just curious.
No, I have. And actually, David Knight covered this today. Zero Hedge has an article. So we have a lot of this going on, and we wanted to cover it because it's pretty crazy. And I know that they are using it to cover things up. We are in the midst of a giant financial crisis. And the stock market is as high as it has ever been. The bond market is as high as it has ever been. And if you may not have stocks, you may not have bonds. But your life is affected. Your life was affected in 2008, even though you weren't a greasy banker chopping up mortgages and selling them to people. Unscrupulous bankers. We know somebody in the banking industry who explained this whole thing to us. Brokerage firms selling bad loans, getting people into two mortgages at the same time for the same house,
right? Things
like that, and that was a precipice that kind of tipped it over a little bit, but it wasn't big enough to
break the camel's back.
Exactly.
So here's a few things that I want you guys to think about while you're looking at this stuff. For one, this actually is something that we should be looking at because they're playing their hand. They want us to be divided. They want to create the chaos. But you're right. What are they hiding? And I think what we're looking at right now is the overthrow of the Trump administration.
Right.
To stage a coup.
Right.
We are looking at war in Afghanistan. I think there's something much larger going on there than what we can see.
Right.
I think Syria is definitely still on the table and the pipelines there. But what Leah hit on really does pose the greatest threat to specifically the United States, and that is the collapse of the dollar bill.
Right.
What you're seeing down in Texas because of Hurricane Harvey and all the chaos because of a flood, it's pretty peaceful because the rest of the nation is able to come in and help. But when you have chaos and there is no food and there are no hygiene products and the dollar has collapsed and there is no electricity, we're going to see mass chaos and there's not going to be anything to step in and rescue that. We have lost over 500%. The dollar has lost over 500% of its value since 1908 or 1913. So here's the thing, guys. This is coming down the line. I don't care if Trump is the greatest businessman that has ever lived from the beginning of time. he can't stop the train of the collapse of the dollar bill, and it is this close.
Right.
It is happening as we speak.
Right.
And it's all smoke and mirrors. And so they're doing what they can right now to further the chaos and to try to cover it up. But that petrodollar, it's gotten so inflated, there's nothing left but for the bubble to burst.
I was seeing if I could find the article that was shared on InfoWars today, what's happening behind closed doors right now. I'm going to keep looking for that, but that's a really good question. And don't worry, we at Resistance Chicks are always going to be trying to find... We know this is a smoke screen, but there's still fire here, so we're going to bring it. Because we know that George Soros and Clinton and Obama want to overthrow Donald Trump, that they want to have the next Bolshevik revolution.
Yep.
That it's a 100-year anniversary here coming up in October and November 2017. The first Bolshevik revolution was 1917, and they used violence, and Clinton and Obama have been dying to use violence. They are so happy to see that their commie brother little minions are out there using violence. This is a Bay Area TV anchor says, I experienced hate firsthand today in Berkeley from Antifa. After the media lashed out at right-wing extremists in the aftermath of the tragic violence in Charlottesville, who is to say that white supremacy is right-wing? Who is to say that the KKK is right-wing? Because I have to tell you, remember, the KKK is the Democratic Party,
right,
and that's the left-wing.
Yeah.
So I watched a guy talking about Antifa, with a pamphlet, telling everybody that communism was left-wing until they got violent, and then they were right-wing.
I love that. That's so convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as it gets violent, now they've switched. Do you understand the difference between the left and the right? There's a lot of differences there, I think. So you can't just all of a sudden just switch just because now you're violent.
Communism is socialist. They're on the left.
Yeah.
Okay? Right on the right is freedom, libertarianism, things like that. So the tide now appears to be turning against the all-black cat Antifa. For the first time since the campaigns began last year and protests broke out, the Washington Post unleashed this shocking headline. Now, when you read the article itself, it goes on to talk about right-wing, blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. They get you in with this. Black-clad Antifa members attack peaceful right-wing demonstrators in Berkeley. And I have to say that the people there weren't necessarily right-wing, but that it's kind of like some of our liberal friends hate when we say the left, because the media is left and all that. So I understand if you have to use right-wing, whatever. Okay, so their faces hidden behind black bandanas and hoodies. About 100 anarchists and anti-fascist members barreled into a protest Sunday afternoon in Berkeley's Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center. Jumping over plastic and concrete barriers, the group melted into a large crowd of about 2,000 that had marched peacefully throughout. But here's the thing. I don't care if you're marching peacefully against, but if you don't understand what you're marching against, you're just there and it's retarded. Okay?
You're not supposed to say that one.
I have to use it.
Politically correct.
The rally against hate gathering. Shortly after violence began to flare, a pepper spray wielding Trump supporter was smacked to the ground with homemade shields. Another was attacked by 5 black-clad Antifa members, each windmilling kicks and punches into a man desperately trying to protect himself. A conservative group leader retreated to safety. We showed you that video earlier. Now, get this. All told, the Associated Press reported at least 5 individuals were attacked. The AP reporter witnessed the assaults. Berkeley police lieutenant told the Washington Post the rally resulted in 13 arrests, blah, blah, blah. But it's not just the Washington Post exposing some truth. A well-known Bay Area TV personality, Frank Somerville, KTVU anchor, took to Facebook this weekend to explain what happened to him when he took a day trip to Berkeley. He says, my wife told me I'm going to get crucified by posting this. I told her I didn't care. This is what happened. This is what I saw. This is what I experienced. This is truth, period. If people don't want to hear the truth, that's not my problem. I have no agenda. I'm just saying that this is what happened to me today. Think about it. Make your own decision. And judging by the 2,800 comments and tens of thousands of shares, Somerville's report below struck more than a chord. He says, I experienced hate firsthand. It came from these people dressed in all black at a protest in Berkeley. Ironically, they were all chanting about no hate. Some had shields, gloves, some had helmets, some had gas masks. I was watching them and taking it all in. I came there on my own time because I wanted to see things firsthand. I was dressed in shorts and a tank top. At one point, I took out my phone to take a picture, and that's when it all happened. And just to be clear, they were playing for the cameras in front, but I was towards the back. And since there were already so many people taking their picture, I didn't think it would be an issue. I took these 2 pictures, and afterward they started screaming at me. I thought for sure they were going to attack. I was just waiting for it. I wasn't scared. But I stayed calm even though I thought this may not end well for me. Here's how the conversation went, and as you're reading this, keep in mind that they were yelling at me, and their words were filled with venom, anger, hate, and intolerance. There's just no way to describe it. I was stunned. Go figure.
Wow.
Because
even the guy in the mainstream media, I'm guessing he's from the mainstream media.
Yeah. The local Bay Area.
He's believing the stuff that he's being told.
Right.
Which is hilarious.
Them. Hey, no pictures or we'll take your phone. At that point, I'd already taken the shots. Me in a calm voice. You're on public property and I can take a picture if I want to. Them. Oh, so you're a big man with a camera. No, I just want to take a picture and talk with you. Them. Rushing towards me. We outnumber you and we will take your camera. Me. You're not going to take my camera and you're not going to tell me what to do. Why can't we just have a respectful conversation? I then touched one of them on her hand to say, it's okay. I just want to talk. Them. Don't touch me. Me. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to understand and have a respectful conversation. Them. We'll block your shot. Me. That's fine. All I wanted to do was have a conversation. Them. Now is not the time. In fairness, he was the one person who was respectful. Then I started to walk away, and a woman started screaming at me, saying, we're not interested in talking to you. We're not interested in talking to you. I walked away stunned. I grew up in Berkeley. I marched in anti-war protests during the 60s. It's one thing to read about hate. It's another thing to be right next to it, in my opinion. These people dressed in black are just as hateful and intolerant as the people they are protesting against. Afterward, I was talking to several other protesters not dressed in black. One of them actually stood up for me as the people dressed in black were threatening me. I was touched. They were just as disappointed as I was. They said that the people dressed in black represent a small minority and that they hijacked the protests. And I agree. Most of the people out there in Berkeley were nonviolent. They were there for the cause. They just wanted to come out and stand up against hate. I totally support them, but I do not support extremists, whether they are on the right or on the left. Hate is hate, and I expected it. I experienced it firsthand today, and it was sad to see. The commenters, as you would imagine, were very diverse in their opinions about Somerville's story, but the cognitive dissonance seemed immense. Nikki DeMoore, that's not hate. They were prepared for battle. They're fighting for your daughter's rights, for my rights. They had a preconceived notion of the kind of man you are based on your whiteness and the way you were dressed. Is their presumption of you okay? Absolutely not. But we're in the midst of a revolution, at a turning point, and some people expect you to pick a side. This wasn't hate, it was anger. Miley Noen, I wouldn't be surprised if they were acting part of the neo-Nazi group and are dressed as counter-protesters to make the opposing side look bad. Why wear so much disguise unless you are there to cause real damage? Why are you there to cause damage if you are there to oppose these fascist morons? So
that's a good question.
He was in disguise.
Right.
His disguise was his white skin.
Right.
Tommy's salami.
That doesn't sound like a real name.
That's it. I'm done with you, Frank. Did you see the Inglorious Bastards, Schindler's List, Indiana Jones? Were you confused about who the bad guy was? You wandered into a literal battlefield dressed like a summer tourist and tried to have a conversation? What on earth is wrong with you?
It was a battlefield.
Oh my gosh. Bob DeMello, how do we know they were not far-right haters there to make peaceful protesters look bad? Eric Anderson, surprising to hear you taking a political position and agreeing with our president's statements regarding violence on many sides. Equivocation between fascists and anti-fascists is a core strategy of the alt-right.
Oh my gosh.
So
all right. Okay. So let's go back to some of the comments because I've been seeing a lot of them go by and haven't had a chance to read them. Somebody wants you to play the Dinesh D'Souza video where he exposes the fascists on both sides in Charlottesville. I know you saw that one. I don't know if you have it on hand. Let's see. Antifa writes slogans, no hate on shields and love on baseball bats. Pure Marxism. Well said.
Yeah, it is pure Marxism. I'm not sure about the Dinesh D'Souza one. Let me, we have to go soon. So, I actually, we'll do the Dinesh D'Souza one hopefully sometime soon.
Tomorrow, maybe.
I, want to bring you pieces of this woman's conversation.
Yes, please do that.
She is with Charles Patrick, and he had talked to her about what she saw. She was in Charlottesville. She'd been in there for several days in Charlottesville. I don't know if she's from there. She said white people and black people were eating in this restaurant. She kept creaking in this one restaurant, and everybody was fine. And then she saw 6 buses. Now, we're going to try to...
Now, hang on a minute. Maybe we could hit some of the highlights, because it's a long interview, and I want you guys to watch it. But
bus part.
Okay, but I wanted to cover some of the other things that she said that we're probably not going to get to. Okay. Go ahead.
But, you know, there were some trees and people and stuff in between us and the buses, so mean, I didn't.
So she just said that there were 6 gray charcoal buses that lined up, and some guy was like pounding on the restaurant window, like, look what's happening. Look at these buses.
Anything?
Were the buses the same?
I know they were all the same.
They were all the same buses. And yes. I remember earlier you told me they were back to back. They were like bumper to bumper.
Yeah, bumper
Correct?
to bumper. Like when, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so they pull up, and of course, I mean, my first thought is it's a tour.
She thought it was a tour.
It could have been for anything.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
So everybody in the restaurant, I mean, you can hear cricket. Everybody's just looking. So you can tell that the town, the locals weren't used to seeing something like that. And, I mean, within, I want to say, 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah. What? Take your time, I understand.
People came running off the bus and just flooded the place. I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care if anybody believes me, but these people came off that bus ready to, I don't know what, to fight. They had on helmets, they had on knee pads and elbow pads and face guards and mouthpieces and purses and bags and backpacks full of things carrying.
Well, let me ask you this. Hold on. Now, were these all white people getting off the bus?
No. There were just as many black people as there were white people.
So white and black people got off the bus.
Women as there was men.
So white people, black people, men and women got off the bus is what you're telling me, right?
Got off the same bus. I even saw some people carrying, you know those shields that policemen use for riots? They see on videos and stuff.
Where the hell they get that from?
People carrying those off the bus.
Really? Now, these black and white people that got off the bus, are these the ones that had on T-shirts?
There was T-shirts, there was emblems, now I don't recognize all the different groups that are out there.
Right.
The ones that I know of are BLM,
Black Lives Matter.
Yep. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, the KKK.
Now, you've seen these emblems, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I did. And not just one or two. Everybody on those buses that came off those buses had something on them that caught my attention. Oh my God, that's the KKK. Oh my God, that's the BLM.
So you're telling me, wait a minute, you're telling me that Black Lives Matter and the KKK got off the same damn bus?
Yeah, but wait a minute. I think I might have left something out. Leading up to it, those people that I'm talking about that were having those civilized conversations in the restaurant and in the town, they were also BLM.
So what she was saying before is that there were Black Lives Matter and white people and black people in this restaurant coming up to this a few days ahead of time, just having conversations like normal people. There was no racism, there were no fights, there was nothing happening prior to this day, prior to this event.
This is actually my least favorite part of this entire interview because she doesn't exactly sound as cohesive and intelligent as she does throughout the rest, and the points that she makes throughout the rest of the interview almost kind of prove, in my opinion, and this is just an opinion because we don't have proof. At this point, none of us were there. We all have to listen to these kinds of things and make our own decisions based on whether we, as a person, believe the person that we're listening to. I believe this lady. You may not, and that's totally cool, but this is all we have to go on at this point. This holds up in a court of law, a person's testimony, then the jury has to decide whether they believe the person's testimony. All right, so during the rest of the interview, she talks about what was happening in the town leading up to these events. She actually heard Heather Heyer having a conversation with a black couple, and she says that Heather Heyer was actually on the side of wanting the monuments to stay in place. Now, I want you guys to go and watch this video. The name of this man's channel is The Charles Patrick. It's really simple. The link, you can just put that in there, The Charles Patrick. And you can listen to the video and listen to what she has to say for yourself.
Where she talks about what they're throwing.
They were full on running and screaming. And
they got out of the bus full on running.
Throwing things. I mean, they came off the bus angry.
So what were they throwing?
And wrecked damage.
Throwing? What do you mean? What were they throwing? Throwing what? Throwing? What do you mean?
Well, the one that almost got me and the few people around me it was like a 20-ounce Sprite bottle that had concrete in it.
And we know from Millie Weaver that she said that this is what they're throwing.
Right.
So we've got collaboration.
Right.
That's some crazy stuff.
That's crazy everything they could get their hands on. They had like condoms and balloons filled with, I don't know if it was horse manure, which is very common around here. I mean,
horse manure and urine and a thing like this. And so I know this is a tactic of the left.
Right.
I've been at pro-life rallies where people will just pick up horse manure and throw it at people. I know this is a demented part of it. And later on, that's the end of that I'm going to play for you guys. But later on, she begins to break down and cry. She doesn't sound like a very good actress to be able to even break down in that kind of tears.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 75%. Like I'm not going to put her in the 100% because I don't know. I'd love to have this I'd love to have this corroborated with something else. But I do know the way she describes it is the same way as Millie was describing it live.
Exactly.
That all the violence was coming from Antifa.
And these were the types of things that they were throwing.
Millie says they have coolers of urine, feces. They're pulling things out. They have concrete. They're throwing it at people.
Right.
So when you mix that with this and the fact that you don't see white supremacists or KKK at any of the other rallies, I'm putting this in the mostly true category of the conspiracy theory. This is planned. They put Black Lives Matter and they probably
I think there were genuine people that did show up, that heard about it, okay, but it only takes a few to infiltrate to make this kind of chaos and violence.
And what's
spread.
incredibly dangerous and what we have, this is why we keep bringing this to you guys, is because everybody keeps talking about the peaceful protesters, and there are a lot of peaceful people. There's a lot of people on the left who watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all these different news channels, and they think that the whole United States is being overrun and overthrown by white supremacists. Now, why are they using this? Because, as you guys have pointed out, this is a smoke screen to hide the A1 brothers. Hillary Clinton should be in prison. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, it's come out that she did, finally they're letting us know, she did favor Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. And why is this important to the people on the right? Because there's corruption everywhere, and we have to call it out everywhere.
Right.
I love Julian Assange because he calls out corruptions on the right and the left. He's really awesome that way.
Stacy from Rosa Sharon Homestead says that there was a man on Fox that talked about these buses as well. He too said that they all got off together. So that's another person to
Stacey,
corroborate
that link, I'd be interested in it because I haven't seen that link. I'd like to be able to have a multiple
me too,
because there had to be more witnesses to this, and we can get the more witnesses together.
And Texas Cat says Obama's Organizing for Action is running all of this. Obama is behind it all. It's not just Obama. He's just another arm.
But he is part of it.
But he is a huge part of it. You're absolutely correct.
So because we're bringing this to you because Russia died down, because the truth finally came out about Russia. And so we have to bring the truth out about this white supremacist narrative. And you have an entire nation that says, I don't want to hate.
Right.
So they're going to the streets. They're marching right now today. They're marching from Charlottesville to D.C. Against the racist president.
Somehow they got 10 days off work. I don't know.
Against this white supremacy. This is the new Russia for them.
Yeah.
And there are good people caught up. Your friends, your family. will literally think that Donald Trump is a racist, that literally thinks that Trump supporters, because we disagree on immigration with people on the left, that we're somehow racist.
Right.
Or because we disagree on Islam, that we're somehow xenophobic.
Right.
Okay? We just call them like we see them. So that's why I wanted to bring you guys this thing. Again, I know we just did it yesterday, but I wanted to focus in on Berkeley, this epicenter of violence, to let you know that the mainstream media may be calling it out a little bit, but they're happy about it. They want the violence to keep happening. They actually like the fact that Antifa's over here and the peaceful protesters are over here, and the peaceful protesters are just protesting against hate and Trump and things like that. So I know that we have to go, but if I could find
we do have to go. Texas Cat says Mueller subpoenaed Podesta, and we covered that the other day, and he says, but you won't hear that in the news. You're correct. They really do want to cover up a lot by putting this out in the front. So, but this is still all part of the game, which is why we have to cover it.
Last night we were watching the Sunday night, and I don't know which one it would have been, the first hour or the second hour, but it was really good, and they were going through
fascists. We've seen that historically. We've seen that
fit to be president. In my book, his lack of empathy, his lack of leadership, his lack of courage, he's unfit to be human.
In the midst of it all, an ESPN
Okay, so when somebody says that Donald Trump is unfit to be human, that means that she thinks he should be dead.
To be human. Yeah.
Order bizarrely reassigned because of political correctness.
ESPN executives have decided that play-by-play announcer Robert Lee, seen there on the right, will not be in the broadcast booth for next Saturday's college football season opener in Charlottesville between the University of Virginia and the College of William and Mary because of the similarity between his name and the
They covered the statue.
famed Confederate icon, General Robert E. Lee.
While mainstream media pundits sold the gullible support for Antifa.
Two gentlemen with very different views on how to respond to white supremacists when they take to the streets. Mark Bray is a Dartmouth professor who has studied the Antifa anti-fascist movement. Antifa is a far-left political movement that argues it's necessary to confront hate groups, sometimes with force. Professor Bray is author of the new...
Did you see the way he said that? What if it was somebody on the right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Antifa, necessary. The anti-fascist handbook. Some of the criticism of the Antifa movement, Mark, is that you're actually against speech. That you want to shut down this speech. And that borders on censorship.
Well, let's be clear that Antifa are not calling on the government to censor anyone. In fact, that they resist the notion of...
They're not calling on the government to censor everyone. Don't worry, we'll do it for you. Yeah.
Of turning to the government or turning to the police, who we've seen have been infiltrated by white supremacists, who have been sympathetic to the court, sort of return to law and order notion of fascism. And so the idea is... the real enemies of free speech are fascists. We've seen that historically. We've seen that they're the ones that, if they have their way, will shut down speech.
Antifa, an army of Soros-funded children, spewing anti-American left-wing hatred. 61% of them returning to their parents' basements, draped in communist propaganda.
The people who turned out to protest Nazis, why are they Stalin to you?
The Antifa group, to me, is totally a very Stalinish kind of group.
How so?
If you're willing to set fires and burn places to the ground, that doesn't sound like a very peaceful group to me.
There was a group the president mentioned that we haven't heard about. The alt-left. So who are they? Simply put, the alt-left does not exist. According to the Anti-Defamation League, it's a made-up term that refers to no actual group or organization. Many in the alt-right actually refer to groups when they protest them as Antifa. That refers to anti-fascists. It's a name that some groups have latched onto, borrowing from an old left-wing extreme movement that popped up in the 1960s in Germany. Their goal is to physically confront Nazis and white supremacists.
Though, and talk about the groups, the green and black flag that was seen at the Charlottesville event is the Kekistani flag. Kekistan is a fake country. The flag mimics a German Nazi war flag.
Who are these fools, really, that have been given the platform to misrepresent the American dream? Instead, rampaging the globalist nightmare of totalitarianism down the throats of 330+ million Americans that can see right through them. Obviously, it is the hysterical mainstream media that is truly unfit to report the news.
Are you an advocate of this sort of confrontation?
Yes, I am, yes.
John Bound, reporting for Infowars.com.
So that's what I wanted to show you guys and end with that they are giving these people this platform for violent. It's so weird.
All right, so we're going to sign up here. You guys are always asking for a song. Today we're not going to sing one because we are headed to a dear friend of ours' house to help her butcher her chickens. Some friends came to help her butcher the other day. They only got 12 done. There's 37 left. And I think Maya earlier had asked what my shirt says. It says Polyface Farm Chick. You guys know that we're big fans of Joel Salatin. And I thought that it was fitting for a Resistance Chick and Butchering Chicken Day. Yes, that is what we are going to go do. I want to cover a couple of business end of things here today. While the phone rings, you can go get that. Hop over it.
We have a business end.
I am hearing a little bit from you guys that you're getting banned from the comment section. Our moderators do an excellent job of moderating, but every once in a while, I do know that they can accidentally ban and accidentally click delete on some comments. I've seen that as it scrolls through, and I know that that's not a comment that meant to be deleted. YouTube, in addition, also deletes comments without the moderators doing it at all. YouTube also bans commenters without the moderators doing it at all. I know if language gets extremely excessive, usually my mods are told to give you guys a couple of tries before you actually get banned. I don't really care about the language one way or the other. The F-bomb really does bother me. Just try not to use it, guys. And if your comment gets deleted, your comment gets deleted. But as far as you getting banned, if you are banned and you don't feel like it was rightfully so, just shoot me an email, massfaith3, MASFAITH 33, it's 33, at gmail.com or on our Resistance Chicks Facebook page, and I will check the list. I've had to do this a couple of times and take your name off of the list. I do watch the comments. I know a lot of you guys shouldn't be banned, and somehow you are getting banned, but my moderators have a really tough job to slay trolls, and they may not be as familiar with the names in the comments as I am. And so if they see something that sounds like smack or whatever and they delete it, you know what, just let it roll off your back because they're trying to do the right thing. Leave the comment again, come to me, we can address it. It's not that big of a deal. But since we are doing more live stream stuff, I'm noticing that this is happening. I can easily remove your name from the banned list. But they have power, and that's why being a Resistance Chicks moderator is a pretty big deal, because I take it really seriously, because I don't want just anybody out there able to delete comments. So I trust my moderators a lot. So cuss words aren't that big of a deal to me personally. I don't like them at all. But if you're going to leave like lots of F-bombs, yeah, no, Iceman, I see your comments. You're a stinker. So yeah, if they're going to take your comments down, I trust them. So
you know what? This is
they're given free reign
to take our vocabulary to the next level.
Right?
We do not remove your comments if they have the F-bomb.
Unless the actual comment contains hate.
Right.
With it. You
know
what I mean?
I realize that a lot of people use it, so it's not that big of a deal to me. But in the comments, you know, we do have some kids, we do have some families who do the live
especially
chat,
in the live chats. In the comment section, maybe a little bit different, but during the live chats, when a parent may be watching, and then the kid might come in the room and read the live chat, just try to keep it a little bit clean. All right, you guys, we're going to sign off here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless. And don't forget, it is not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
All right, bye, guys.
Antifa. I wanted to bring that video, but I couldn't find it. And then me